Hello and a warm welcome. Namaskar, Adab. You're watching my YouTube station, Smita Sharma, journalist, and we continue to track the biggest story today. Every single day, we are waking up to a new tumult, to a new chaos, and to a new conflict. And the latest news, of course, coming in there from the situation in Iran, the airstrikes carried out by Israel and the United States in Tehran and different cities of Iran earlier today, followed by retaliatory strikes by Iran across the US air bases, the naval bases in the Middle East. And we will try and make sense of what is the situation right now क्योंकि इस वक्त बहुत सारी खबरें आ रही हैं social media पर. You have to be careful about the news that you're consuming. There is also a lot of misinformation, disinformation, and for the next 1 hour I'm joined here by a special panel, a global panel that will give us updates from different parts of this region, in particular in Middle East, New Delhi. I have with me Anna Ohan, who is a senior journalist. She's a conflict reporter. She's joining us from Beirut. There may be a slight mobile signal issue. I don't know if she can hear us or not right now. Anna, are you able to hear us? I think I've lost the connection with Anna. She is, remember, in a conflict zone right now, a zone that is really no stranger to conflicts, and Syria, Lebanon, these are areas that she has been reporting actively on. We will try and get Anna back on because I can't see her right now. But I also have two guests who have joined me in. I have Svetlana Prodanova, who is a senior journalist. She's joining me in from Bahrain, and Dr. Ahmed Khuzai, who's a political consultant, Khuzai Associates LLC. He's also joining in from Bahrain. The moment I get to see Anna, I'll go to her first for an update. But Svetlana, if I could start by asking you, what is the mood on the ground, the situation on the ground? We have seen videos come in of the Iranian, in fact, ballistic missiles hit out at the US base in Bahrain too. Can you confirm some of the reports that are coming in the situation there?
Smita, there are very mixed emotions on the ground. But the most important is the government takes care of us, of the citizens, very, very well.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Anna. But I can't see you though.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Svetlana, please complete your thought.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Complete your thoughts, Svetlana.
Yes. So the government takes care very well of the citizens, residents, everyone. We are provided with shelters, designated locations, various places in town, different governorates. So everything is under control. People, of course, very mixed emotions. Some people are panicking, of course. It's the first time this happens in the Middle East, in the Gulf countries. As you know, it's very, very peaceful place. We have never experienced such things. Even in June 2025, there was nothing like that. So it's kind of scary, but it's under control. I think the government is doing the best to keep calm the citizens and to inform us accordingly.
Okay, Svetlana, stay with me. Anna, are you able to hear me?
I can hear you clearly, yes.
Okay, I can't see you. Your video is switched off, but can you tell me what is the situation from the region that you are in? What are the reports that you are picking up?
I mean, in Lebanon, until now, there are only officials commenting on the situation. I mean, the Israeli strikes on Lebanon are on daily basis. So it's the ceasefire, although there was a ceasefire, but Israel has been attacking the south and Bekaa since the ceasefire. So it's not something new, but there is fear of escalation. Because we can see how the war is not direct only. I mean, we can see Iran is also hitting the rapid support forces in Iraq, and there are Israeli continuous attacks on Lebanon. So there's a fear within the public. So you can see today that the country has been on hold. Everyone's queuing on gas stations, and a lot of people are stocking up just for the fear of further Israeli strikes on Lebanon and the expansion of the strikes into other cities and other areas.
And also in terms of the airspace, of course, we heard the reports of the airspace as far as Israel, Iranian both getting shut. We also hear
I
UAE
cannot hear
airspace
you, unfortunately.
now. If you're able to hear me, Anna? Anna, can you hear me? Okay. I'm afraid we have lost that connection with Anna, but as she was saying that there are several people, of course, who are panicking as well and they're queuing up. Dr. Ahmed Khuzai, if I could come to you for your reactions right now. How are you assessing the situation? What is the scale of the damage that the Iranians in their retaliatory strikes have managed to do so? What is your understanding of the situation currently? Dr. Khuzai, can you hear me? Dr. Khuzai, can you hear me? Dr. Khuzai, I think there is some issue with the... Svetlana, are you able to hear me? Hi, Svetlana, can you hear me? Okay, I think there is an audio issue that I'm facing right now. Dr. Khuzai, can you hear me right now? Dr. Khuzai, can you hear me right now? Yeah, there seems to be a technical problem. Dr. Khuzai, can you hear me right now?
Yes,
Okay.
you're audible.
I'm sorry, my audio, there was an audio glitch. Are you still not able to hear me, Dr. Khuzai? Svetlana, are you able to hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you, Smita.
Okay, can you tell me, currently, in terms of the flight operation, is the airspace across Bahrain closed?
At the moment, the airport is closed. According to the last information, the airspace is closed. There are no flights coming out and in. And just 10 minutes before we connected, we heard a few more explosions. I guess that's from intercepting the missiles coming over. And I don't think I just can't say when the airport will be open again. I don't think they even have information when it will be open again.
Okay. I think we are facing some glitches here. I'm not sure if Dr. Wael Awad is there. Dr. Awad, can you hear me? I seem to have missed out on his connection too.
I think Ahmed is trying to reconnect.
Hi, Smita. How are you?
Hi, can you switch on your camera, please, Dr. Awad?
Yes.
Ahmed, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry for the audio issues in the transmission, but I wanted to get a sense from you of what is your understanding of the scale of the strikes across Iran and the Iranian retaliatory strikes right now in the region.
You're asking me or Dr. Awad?
I'm asking you.
Oh, okay. So what happened basically with the Iranian response, it's known in warfare as a proportionate response. So if there is a group of strikes that happened all at once, and then Iran, in this case, is to reply, they do reply with one strike, like what we saw last year in Qatar. They ended the war with one strike over the American base in Qatar, and that was it. The problem is, in this case, this is not the same thing, because if it was just one missile over the American base in Bahrain, in UAE, in Saudi, in Kuwait, it would be considered as a proportionate retaliation. But what happened was, until now, we still hear sirens. And until 2 hours ago, I was hearing the Air Force hovering across the island. In Kuwait, the airport is affected by one of the drones. In Emirates as well, 2 civilian sites were affected. Now, one would say, yes, it was not meant to be, but it happened. But even then, the Gulf states may or may not, but may eventually consider this as an act of aggression. And by that, Iran could have made the Gulf states as their enemy. And that's the last thing they need today.
Okay. But, the big question is, are you looking at it as being something which will remain a limited strike? Are you looking at it as an escalation beyond the kind of 12 days of escalation that we saw last year in June?
I'm sorry, I'm not able to hear anything again. Same issue is back.
Are you able to hear me now? Dr. Awad, can you hear me?
Why don't you take it with Dr. Awad if you can hear me? Can you hear me?
Dr. Awad, are you able to hear me?
Okay.
Dr. Awad, are you able to hear me?
Smita, I can hear you.
Okay. I just wanted to
I can hear
check
you, doctor, but I can't hear her.
I wanted to check with you.
In that case, you go forward. Let me log off and come back. In the meantime, why don't you take the stage?
Sure. I'm sorry for this entire audio issue, but Dr. Awad, your reactions to what has happened so far since morning, heart-wrenching images. We have also seen images coming in from an elementary girls' school in Iran being bombed, the number of casualties going up. Dr. Awad?
Yes, Smita, I can hear you, but there is audio problem with you.
I said your reactions to what has happened so far. How are you looking at the situation?
Yes, actually, we were already anticipating this kind of a military action by the United States because we all know that piling this much of arms and ammunitions and the warships, nuclear warships around Iran, besieging Iran from all the direction, the military base has been on high alert, and also the aircraft have gone to Europe and to Israel and to the Mediterranean Sea. It's a clear indication that all these arms meant for a war and an inevitable war. So there was no question of any kind of a negotiation that the United States was trying to deceive the public opinion that the Iranians are seriously talking to them about the outcome of the nuclear issue, because the nuclear issue has never been the issue for the United States. The United States actually fighting 2 wars in the region. One is a superpower war where they wanted to control the passage of the oil and the corridors, whether it's the Strait of Hormuz, whether it's the Red Sea, Mediterranean Sea, Bab el-Mandeb, or it is Panama, or is it even Taiwan? So therefore, they wanted to fight the Russian, the Chinese, and the dominance forces in the world. This is the one, the regional war they are fighting on behalf of the Israeli government, because Prime Minister Netanyahu have been pushing the United States for this war against Iran because he thought that it is the right time where we can have a total control and ensure the dominance of Israel in the region, politically, economically, and militarily. Having said that, I would say both the president and the prime minister are trying to evade the internal pressure on both of them. If you take Netanyahu, he's been prosecuted in the court, he's evading the trial, his popularity was down. The war on Gaza, the investigation on the war, how did this happen? All these issues have been on the table, and he's trying to evade the public opinion and against him, and avoiding even going to the court. So going for a war, it will help him. Similarly, with the United States president also, who has also been hunted by the Jeffrey Epstein's files and the blackmailing by the Israelis, is a very clear indication that he's been under blackmail by Netanyahu, and he wanted to also avoid the pressure from within his government. And maybe if he go for such kind of a war on Iran, which can be prolonged, I mean, the midterm election maybe could be postponed, and he can declare emergency in the United States, so nobody can take over or have him midterm removed. So all this give you a clear indication that he was the one. You remember, he was very much against the regime change by force. He criticized his predecessors. He spoke that this is a policy he wanted to change. He's a man of peace. And suddenly we find that he have different way of war, of a regime change of his own, whether it's Venezuela, whether he is a Greenland, whether it's Algeria, Nigeria, and now it is Iran. So he's taking on Iran in his own terms, that he thinks that with the American might, he can have a war on the Iranian and remove the government of Iran by force and then have it disintegrated, which is not going to happen very easy as he might have planned it.
Okay. Dr. Awad, stay with me. I'm trying to just reconnect to Anna, who has come back from Beirut. Anna, are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, Anna, if I could just ask you, give us a sense of the situation currently. I mean, you told us that there is a panicking on the ground. People are queuing up, of course, for full supplies. What are you picking up from the region in terms of the airspaces being closed, in terms of the scale of, the destruction that is already being reported?
I mean, this is not like the 12-day war. At this point, after several dialogue attempts, after so many months of discussions, it was clear to us, to be honest, that an escalation was in the horizon from Trump's statements and from how the U.S. administration is dealing with the whole region. I mean, there is a possibility, of course, that Israel expands its strikes in Lebanon. There is a fear because Lebanon also has the biggest U.S. embassy in the region. There's a fear of possible Iranian strikes. And the U.S. embassy actually just released a statement calling on its citizens to leave Lebanon. So we do see coming, but whether there's going to be an expansion, how big that expansion might be within the country, because as I said before, Israel never stopped striking Lebanon since the ceasefire. How this escalation will look like, the coming days will probably say more about this. However, Hezbollah's Secretary General actually had a speech today at 3 p.m., but it was postponed until further notice. So we might be also waiting for such a speech and to see how this will develop in coming days. Because as we saw that Hezbollah in Iraq announced that it will strike back at the US base that targeted rapid support forces this morning, and but until now from Lebanon there is caution, fear, and anticipation of what's going to come. I think the following days will will have a clearer image.
Okay, I'm just going to take one last question and then go back to Dr. Khuzai and Svetlana, who are there with us, and Jyotsna Mohan has joined in from UAE. Anna, in terms of evacuations of citizens, do you see any countries being able to do that at this point in the region? With the airspace is closed, what are the options looking like on the table?
I mean, depending today, for example, in Lebanon, I can say a lot of flights were canceled, but some of them were still operating. And with the airspaces, it depends on the escalation because Iran until now did not stop its response. And we might see a bigger escalation from the US-Israeli side. So depending on how this escalation will happen, I think we will have a clearer image on the airspace issue, but also it's not a good sign that the US evacuated some of its staff a few days ago. And the fact that they released today a statement saying for its citizens to leave the country. Australia as well a few days ago released such a statement. So there is a big possibility that the airspace here will also be closed, and with also all the Gulf countries being targeted. I mean, the Kuwait airport has been targeted for the second time now.
Okay.
So I think that we will have difficulties in airspace travels.
Thank you so much, Anna, for joining us with that update from Beirut. And please stay safe. Prayers with all of you in the region, directly in the line of conflict. Let me also bring back, in fact, Dr. Ahmed here, if you're able to hear me. Dr. Khuzai? Okay, there seems to be a continuous issue with your connection. Are you still not able to hear me, Dr. Khuzai? Svetlana, are you able to hear me, Svetlana?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, can you? I think there are two gadgets that you joined in
Yes,
from.
yes, yes. 1 second.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why the interruption happens? Because we receive constantly warnings from the government on our mobile phones. And when
Okay.
this warning comes on the screens, it blocks all our connections. So that's
Oh.
why we have the interruptions all the time.
Oh, okay. But you said that the Bahrain government has built enough bunkers. I mean, are the civilians having to be in bunkers right now? What kind of
I
ground
can't hear you,
situations are
Smita.
there?
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. This is okay. Thank you, Svetlana, for joining me here. Let me just try and get in Dr. Ahmed Khuzai one last time. Khuzai, are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Your quick analysis on whether you see it being limited like the last time around. Do you now seeing it being dragged out for weeks or for months, this escalation?
Of course. Now, if we're talking about Iran, we're not talking about Syria, Lebanon, or even Afghanistan. Iran is much deeper rooted as a regime. The Islamic Republic now, basically for over the past 46, 47 years, have been there. And they made sure not just to only built the proper infrastructure for themselves as a government, as institutions, but as proxies around the region. We're talking about Hezbollah in Lebanon, the previous Syrian regime. We're talking about the militias in both Yemen and Iraq and throughout the Gulf in smaller pace. So it won't be easy for anybody to take them overnight. When the President Trump said a week, I don't think a week is enough to do anything. When people are talking about the demonstrators in Iran and their ability to take down the government, even that's not possible. They are, I mean, as an opposition to the regime in either inside Iran or outside, they are fractured. The Persians, and while I'm talking to you right now, I'm hearing the Air Force hovering very low, and I heard an explosion. I don't know what it is. The Persians are marking the majority of Iran, of course, but they don't work with the other minorities. They don't work with the Arabs in Ahvaz. They don't work with the Baluchis in Baluchistan. They don't work with the Azeris or even with the Kurds. Each group and each fraction of these fractions are working as standalone. And when we're talking about the Arabs, they are separatists. They want to be on their own. Same thing with Baluchistan, which is historically, it falls as part of Iran, Pakistan, and Afghanistan as well. So once they separate, this is going to create a big turbulence in the region. Can you imagine what happens to Pakistan if the Baluchis form their own land or separate from Pakistan and Iran and Afghanistan? It will be a big turmoil for Pakistan. It will create a big ripple with the Kashmiris as well. So it will create another problem with India. And then we're talking about the other fractions. This is a world war in the making if it continues. And it will drag on. It won't happen just for now or just for a few days.
Absolutely ominous to hear and very, very unfortunate to hear. Dr. Khuzai, a last comment from you. We have seen, of course, the Saudi and the UAE, despite a lot of hostility in the last few months, talking to each other. Qatar has condemned the airstrike, the Iranian retaliatory strikes across the Middle East region. How do you look at the Arab states right now coming together, in this moment?
Whatever happens in the Gulf, as you just mentioned, the downfall between Emirates and Saudi, and then the Qatari issue for a while, all of these are nothing compared to what's happening today and what's facing the Gulf today. So today we will see a united Gulf because the aggression that's happening, as I mentioned earlier, it was not just a retaliation. It was not just one strike and that's it. Just like our colleague from Lebanon just mentioned that the airport in Kuwait has been struck twice, which means it's intentional. The airport in Kuwait has nothing to do with the American base. The civilian institutions that are being targeted all across the Gulf has nothing to do with the American base. And if you strike it once, like the airport in Kuwait, you could say it's a mistake. But twice in one day, no, that's aggression. And the Gulf states won't take it for long. Even Oman, who are trying as much as they could to stand in the middle between everybody, will have to take a stance eventually.
Okay, appreciate you joining us, Dr. Khuzai from Bahrain,
Thank you.
and apologies for all the technical glitches that we
Don't
have
worry
been
about it.
facing.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. I'll get back to you for a longer conversation soon. Let me also just get in Jyotsna Mohan, who's joining me from UAE. And of course, there's Ambassador Dilip Sinha and Dr. Wael Awad. I'll come to them in just 5 minutes from now and have a long conversation with them. I'm just trying to get in a word from people in the region first. Jyotsna, you are in Abu Dhabi. We are hearing stories of airstrikes in Abu Dhabi too. I just saw some visuals on social media, and it's very difficult to gauge what's really happening on the ground. Tell us, what are the confirmed reports in terms of the strikes where you are?
Smita, I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you.
Jyotsna, can you hear me now? Jyotsna, are you able to hear me now?
Okay, now I am.
Yeah. So I said that we have seen reports of airstrikes and plumes of smoke coming in from Abu Dhabi. Somebody put out visuals of even something being bombed in Dubai. There's a lot of misinformation too. Give us first a sense of what's really happening where you are.
So I'm in Abu Dhabi, Smita, and well, naturally there is a lot of unease. Iran's, I think, retaliation was fairly quick in the morning, and we've all heard across the city, everyone has heard multiple explosions. And in some areas, houses have rattled, windows have rattled, and we've heard that through the day. Um, Having said that, the way I think a lot of news has also come out that there's absolute pandemonium in the streets and all. I think that is absolutely incorrect. There is also a sense of life has been going on as usual on the side of course, not as many people out on the streets or whatever, but that there is unease more than there is panic. You can sense that it's not a comfortable place to be in to kind of hear these explosions periodically, or to look up at the sky and see that it has been intercepted. But there is information that is flowing. There is those are alerts that are regularly coming, and depending on the region that you are in within the city, the alerts also differ. And I think everybody is at the moment staying put. And the airspace, as you know, is closed, and there's of course there's going to be chaos at the airports, and that's totally understandable, both in Dubai and in Abu Dhabi. The amount, given that these are both transit airports, and Abu Dhabi is actually a transit airport for the US, because you can actually do your immigration in Abu Dhabi. I think the only
Yes.
one where you can, right? So naturally there is going to be chaos there, but in the city there is. I won't say panic, but I'd say that, it's very quiet. The city is quiet. And people are reporting having seen things, but there's a lot of misinformation. I think initially in the day, there was this whole thing that Abu Dhabi has been hit and this big plume of smoke coming out, but that was actually Bahrain. And there are reports coming in from Dubai about what is being referred to as an incident at the Hotel Fairmont at the Palm. So a lot of people from Dubai are saying that they have seen it. They are sharing those visuals, but I think people are being a little bit more circumspect as well. Because there's a lot of information that is going up and down, and
And
sometimes it's not
Jyotsna,
easy.
because when you talk about Abu Dhabi, Dubai, there's a huge Indian population also out there. I
Yes.
mean, the Asian population, the Indian population. What is the kind of messaging that has come in from the embassy, from our consulates? Are people contemplating leaving the country as soon as the airspace opens up? What are you picking up from your Indian friends out there?
Everybody is just absolutely staying put. I don't think, Smita, at the moment, everybody is looking ahead to, kind of leaving. I don't think that has entered anybody's mind. My husband was to take a flight out tomorrow, and that's cancelled. So we don't know how long this is going to be. I mean, unlike the last time, I think a lot of people, when this started, thought that, by the end of the day, flights will resume, as had happened the last time. But, this is not the same. The sense is that this is different from the last time around, and this could extend a little bit more. But the government, the embassy is also sending out regular alerts. There is a lot on its hands. I mean, I think what is it? It's about 4 million Indians diaspora in the Gulf, isn't it? Or in the UAE. I think 9 million in the Gulf and 4 million in the UAE. Yeah. So there's a lot of people. I mean, I've also been reading, all kinds of everybody from every walks of life, PV Sindhu, everybody's stuck at the airport. So I think the embassy's got its hands full. But at this moment, what really can it do? I think everybody has to accept that airport has shut down. It is not in anybody's hand, and I think we have to take things very, very patiently. I think that's the only way to handle things. Calm down, sit back. A lot of people, I've got friends from other countries, and they've also been getting their information from France or whatever, and everyone's saying, we're just sitting put at home. We are all watching. We are all
Right.
taking in the information that is coming, the alerts that are coming in, but at the moment there isn't much we can do about it except wait and watch.
Thank you so much, Jyotsna Mohan, for joining us with those updates and insights from Abu Dhabi. And stay safe. Our prayers and thoughts with all our friends in the region.
I just want to add before you go, Smita, I just want to add that,
Yes.
the hype that, and I'm really glad you're doing this because, I've been seeing some of the Indian channels and, there is panic and there is plumes, but it's not that, it's okay. You may see an odd thing out here and there, but relatively it's just been a very quiet, slow, uneasy day. That's how I can wrap it up,
That's a relief to know. Let's hope that people stay calm, because panicking in this situation is really not going to help. But thank you once again, Jyotsna Mohan, for joining me here on this broadcast. And let me just take in one last quick comment from Svetlana, who remains from Bahrain with us, before I go over to Dr. Awad and Ambassador Dilip Sinha. Svetlana, you still hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you perfect now.
Yeah, just one final thought, of how do you see the next few hours panning out for those in Bahrain with the air operations closed? What's really going to be the
I
next
really
24
don't
hours like?
see this, I don't really see this opening within the next few hours. It's quite an unpredictable situation. What's going to happen from outside? The only one really I see it as a big problem, like your friend said earlier, Jyotsni, her name. There are a lot of AI generated videos circulate around and create panic and chaos in the country, which people should stick to credible sources, informations, to outsource information, and to see the real situation.
Okay. Okay, I think we've lost the audio there with Svetlana again. Svetlana, I think I've lost your audio, but thank you so much for joining me here. Dr. Awad and Ambassador Dilip Sinha, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can.
Dr. Awad, you still able to hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry to have kept you waiting, and there's a lot of transmission glitch that's happening today. Dr. Wael Awad, who is a senior journalist, of course, in India, has been the bureau chief for a lot of international news outlets for a long time, and Ambassador Dilip Sinha, retired career diplomat, who's also served in the UN as India's permanent representative. Many thanks for joining me in this late live stream. Dr. Awad, if I could come to you first. How are you again, in terms of the situation right now? It's very different from what played out in last June. Donald Trump continues to maintain the nuclear issue as the provocation, but clearly it's really not about the nuclear issue anymore.
Well, absolutely. I think this is an illegal war imposed on the Iranian by the Israelis and the United States. They have launched an attack on the sovereign nations in the early morning hours of the day, and they have killed more than 60 children. They are also attacking the top leaderships, the infrastructure of Iran. It's a clear indication. It has nothing to do with the nuclear issue, because if you heard yesterday, the foreign minister of Oman, he said, we are within the reach of an agreement with the United States and Iran, but they have not been able to digested by Netanyahu, who wanted to go for the war and drag the United States into this war. So the attack came from Israel. It's only a preemptive attack that they wanted to sabotage any kind of an agreement. However, having said that, I would also add that the United States have been dictating terms to Iran, that what they exactly wanted from the Iran. They wanted them to stop their ballistic missile technology program. They wanted them to stop their selling their oil without only by dollars they should sell. And they wanted also them to stop supporting those forces in the region, whether it is Hezbollah, Ansarullah in Yemen, or the Hamas or any other factions that they may think that they will be cause damage to the Israelis' sovereignty and military, economy, and political dominance in the region. So I think, as I said, this war is fought in two fronts by the United States. One is superpower war to control the corridors, international corridors of oil and global trade. And the second one is a regional to serve the Netanyahu purpose on the Trumpstein, who is already under blackmailing by Netanyahu.
Ambassador दिलीप सिन्हा, if I could ask you, और मैं आपसे हिंदी में भी बातचीत करूंगी क्योंकि हमारे बहुत से दर्शक हिंदी में बोलने वाले भी हैं। अभी तक जो ईरान की तरफ से जो जवाबी कार्रवाई हमले की खबरें आ रही हैं, जहां कतर से लेकर यूएई तक जो एयर बेसेस हैं अमेरिकन के उन पर स्ट्राइक्स होने की बात आ रही है बैलिस्टिक मिसाइल की। आप ईरान की इस वक्त इस कैपेसिटी को कैसे देख रहे हैं कि वो कब तक खींच सकते हैं इस तरह के एस्केलेशन की सिचुएशन को?
ज्यादा लंबा नहीं खींच पाएंगे। ईरान की कैपेसिटी पहले ही बहुत कम कर दी जा चुकी है, क्योंकि जून में एक आक्रमण किया था अमेरिका ने ईरान के ऊपर, और इस दफा भी उन्होंने कई ठिकानों पर आक्रमण किया। यहाँ तक कि खamenei का जो घर था, उनका जो दफ्तर है जहां भी वो रहते थे, उस पर आक्रमण किया है। तो अमेरिका चुन चुन करके इसराइल और अमेरिका दोनों इसराइल के टारगेट्स को मार रहे हैं, ईरान के टारगेट्स को मार रहे हैं। ईरान ने जो आक्रमण किए हैं वो अधिकांश अरब देशों के खिलाफ किए हैं, और कुछ तो उन्होंने अमेरिकी सैनिक ठिकानों पर आक्रमण किया है, लेकिन कई आक्रमण उन्होंने किए हैं सिविलियन ठिकानों पर। तो ये मेरे ख्याल से ईरान की तरफ से एक रणनीतिक, एक टैक्टिकल एरर है, क्योंकि जो भी न्यूट्रल या जो भी ऐसे देश थे जो कि थोड़ी बहुत सहानुभूति दिखा सकते थे ईरान के प्रति, क्योंकि ईरान एक ग्लोबल साउथ का देश है, एक छोटा देश है, और उस पर एक महाशक्ति आक्रमण कर रहा है जो कि निश्चित रूप से अंतर्राष्ट्रीय कानून का उल्लंघन है। लेकिन ईरान ने जिस प्रकार से आक्रमण किए हैं कुवैत, बहरीन, कतर, यूएई, इससे ये जो देश हैं इन्होंने मिलकर के ईरान की आलोचना की है, इन्होंने स्टेटमेंट जारी किया है, उन्होंने ईरान की निंदा की है। और ईरान इस वक्त यदि कोई कार्रवाई अमेरिका और इजराइल करते हैं तो उसमें मेरे ख्याल से अब जो खाड़ी के जो अरब देश हैं वो भी उनका समर्थन करेंगे इसमें, और ईरान बिल्कुल ही आइसोलेट हो गया है इस युद्ध के मामले में। यदि आप अंतर्राष्ट्रीय प्रतिक्रिया देखें तो केवल 2 देशों ने इस आक्रमण की खुलकर निंदा की है, एक रूस ने की है और एक पाकिस्तान ने की है। बाकी देशों ने चिंता जताई है, कहा है कि बातचीत करो और वृद्धि मत होने दो, लड़ाई शांत बातचीत से हल करो समस्या का। तो ईरान की ये जो रणनीति रही है इस मामले में, वो ईरान के हित में नहीं रही है, बल्कि ईरान अपने आप को आइसोलेट कर रहा है।
But Ambassador Sinha, I mean, one could argue then, and I'll come to Dr. Awad also to get his reaction on what you're saying. You are saying that by virtue of Iran hitting back at the US air bases in the Middle East or in the Arab states, it has actually isolated itself further today. But having said that, I mean, Iran had to do something when it was getting attacked. What it could have done, if not hit back, it is not like it was hitting at the civilian population in these countries. It was targeting the US air bases in this country.
No, that's true. Iran doesn't have easy options. Iran is in a very difficult situation. Iran has been pursuing a policy of making the nuclear bomb, and that has been opposed by several countries in the world, led by the US. Today, the chief allies of the US in NATO have joined the US. Countries that had NATO had actually broken up because of Trump's policies. And today, if you look at the statements made even by Canada supporting the US, means that I understand that Iran is in a very difficult situation. But this is the real world. This is the real world in which the big powers dictate everything to the smaller powers. The smaller powers simply have to accept that they have to negotiate, they have to talk, and they have to accept some of the bullying that takes place by the big powers. Now, if a small power takes on a big power, then it must be prepared for the consequences, and that's what's happening in the case of Iran.
Dr. Awad, your thoughts? Do you agree with, align with this line of thought, or do you feel like, a lot of people are telling Iran that don't give up on your nuclear program. See what happened with the Gaddafi. See what happened with the Libya. What really were the alternate choices that Iran had at this point?
Look, Iran in 2015 signed the deal with the American, and comprehensive deal with the American and P5, and actually they have agreed that there will be no nuclear programs, military program of their civilian projects. So they have agreed, the United States agreed, and they signed. Then we had first the new President Trump signing, revoking the deal, and he said he wanted a better deal. Actually, we need to understand the psychology of President Trump. He feels that he is the president who can revoke the deal and he can bring a better deal on the table. So he failed in his first term. Second term, he felt that he is more macho, more of an American cowboy, that he wanted to show his muscle, whether it is in Venezuela, whether it is going to be in Greenland, or whether it is in the rest of the world in his tariff. So he thought in Iran, it's the maximum pressures they can put on Iran and to bring the Iranian regime down or to the negotiating table with the American dictate. So therefore, this is the message he's trying to give. So this much of piling of arms is nothing but the show off of the power of the United States they can take on Iran. But he has miscalculated the outcome of the war. Yes, you might be in the strongest army in the world. You might have started the war, but it will be Iran who will dictate you when this war to be ended. And I'm sure the Iranian, even if they bring the Iranian government down, will not go without the fight, without pain to the United States. We are still at the early hours of the war. We don't know how much Iranian potential is there, but they have not used anything to do with the Strait of Hormuz. They have not attacked the American warships. They have not even attacked. Wait for a few hours from now, and you will see the Iranian attack on the American installation. And they have already warned the Arab countries around the and the GCC around Iran, and they told them if the American attack all military bases of the United States where 50 to 60,000 Marines are stationed, will be a legitimate target for the Iranian. But that does not give the Iranian a free hand to attack an airport, or attack some of the civilian installation in those countries, which will have a backfire on the Iranian sympathy waves still exist in the Arab world because of the hatred of the United States policy, which is a fully blindly following the Israelis' dictation. So therefore, let us look at these from the issues of a regime change policy that, Mark Winsley, the American the army chief of the army staff of the NATO, he said it in 2001 after the American 9th of September 11, when they have seen that the American wanted to bring down 7 countries in the region, started with Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Somalia, Sudan, and Lebanon, and lastly is Iran. It's a clear indication that the Americans have been planning it for years, that they wanted to disintegrate this part of the world and break it up. So it's not a conspiracy theory. It is a theory implemented by the United States, by the Pentagon, by the arm industry, who wanted to ensure that not only destabilize the BRICS region, Smita, they're destabilizing the BRICS, they're destabilizing the Shanghai Cooperation, they're destabilizing India and Asia, because the corridor, north-south corridors, is of a prime importance for all the countries. Now, if they control the Strait of Hormuz and deny India and China the north-south corridor and Russia, does that mean America is showing that they will only use the cowboy diplomacy, put the gun on the table, ask the manager of the bank to open the lockers, take all the money and shoot him in the head? So that's what the American policy has been throughout history, and nothing changed.
Okay, Ambassador Dilip Sinha, the other big question really is what will constitute as a regime change? I mean, this American obsession with regime change everywhere. At the end of the day, we need to remember that this is not an operation that has congressional approval. This is not an operation that has the approval of the United Nations Security Council. And the Iranians have been stressing on the fact that, look, we are a different kind of a setup. Even if Khamenei is taken out, it's not like the Americans can completely impose somebody of their choice. The Iranian foreign minister in a recent interview with India Today also mentioned the fact that they are already preparing the second rung, third rung leadership to take place there also. Khamenei may go, you'll still have another supreme leader come in. What will constitute as a regime change?
No, before I come to that, I must point out that the prime reason why I think both Israel and America have been after Iran is not so much just its nuclear program. Dr. Awad correctly mentioned that there was already an agreement on the table in 2015 on the nuclear program. The real reason to my mind is that Iran remains perhaps the only country in this region that still threatens to obliterate Israel. And that is very important because Israel has gone one after the other against all leaders in the region who threatened Israel. The last was Mr. Assad, President Assad of Syria. Now you have Iran left, so they're going after Iran. The regime change that they want, now regime change is very difficult because regime change requires presence among the people of leaders, as happened in the case of Venezuela, where the vice president was willing to take over from the president. So the moment Maduro was kidnapped, by the Americans. The vice president took over and modified a number of the policies and started talking to the Americans. Now, we don't know, at least I don't know, whether the Americans have already somebody in place in Iran to take over in case this happens, or the Americans have a simple policy that they hope that the people will revolt, the way President Trump has appealed to the people of Iran to rise and overthrow the regime. Now, all this, we don't know. These are all in the future. But what is certain is that the aerial supremacy that the Americans have in the region and over Iran will mean that until regime change takes place, unless Iran submits, America will continue to bomb Iran. And there can be no two opinions that American aerial supremacy is absolute in the region. They can go and bomb any place. And if they continue the war for, let's say, another week or 10 days, they will have destroyed the entire capacity. Yes.
Dr. Awad, I can hear an echo. Maybe can you switch off the speaker? Yeah. Okay. So there is a pushback from the constituency. There is an echo. Dr. Awad, can you switch off the speaker or the echo fallback?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Dr. Awad? I think I'll just have to. Dr. Awad?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry. There's something wrong with the audio. Tell me.
Yeah. As Ambassador Dilip Sinha is saying that the Americans will have a clear supremacy when it comes to airstrikes. But if this continues and gets dragged out, do you see a situation where eventually there will be boots on the ground? How does that go? Because there is a huge pushback also happening even as we talk. I have this tweet from Marjorie Taylor Greene who says, I did not campaign for this. I did not donate money for this. I did not vote for this in elections or Congress. This is heartbreaking and tragic, reacting to that bombing of an elementary girls' school in Iran. Will the American society really be prepared for a boots on the ground situation? And is that a possibility that you see?
I don't think the American wanted any white man to put a foot on the hole. America is privatizing the wars. They have started in Afghanistan. They continue with the same privatization of the army, renting of mercenaries from all over the world, and they will repeat the same. Okay. So the second part is the country which they are creating a problem for them, for any ground forces to come. They are supporting Mujahideen Khalq, which they can come from Kurdistan, Iraq. They're supporting the Azari, where they can bring the minority Azaris with the Israeli largest spy satellite and plot they're having inside Azerbaijan, or they can go through the Baluchi card where they can play with the Pakistan and Afghanistan. So all these America have been trying, and don't take it easy that, and let us not be naive when the Americans stayed for 19 years in Afghanistan and they just walked away after losing $1 trillion for removing Taliban and bringing back the Taliban. So I think there are many issues, a very complex issue, and the American cannot win a war from the sky, no matter how much they may try. It's a long haul war. It's not going to end in a day or two or a week or two. We can see from the amount of the arms that the ammunition they have stationed around Iran, it's not going to be a very fast war to end. Having said that, I would say that they are preparing for a long haul war. But without troops on the ground, there's no question of toppling the Iranian regime, because they will not succumb to the pressure. It is in the DNA of the Iranian. It is a nationalist army, and they are very nationalist, national people. Actually, if you look at their way of life, in their DNA, they will go fighting. Even if they know that they're losing the war, they will not give easy for the American to take over the Iranian oil or to take any Iranian resources from them. I think the Iranian understand the game plan. That's why they have been prepared for a long war with the American, and they have not used their potential yet. And America was surprised, despite all this piling of the army, that they were not even scared. They didn't even show, and bowing down to the American pressure. They went for a full-fledged war. They went for a full-fledged attack, retaliatory attack against Israel and the United States and the military bases. It's a clear indication they are prepared for a long war.
Okay, appreciate you joining me here. in this discussion here, Dr. Wailawad, and sharing your insights and your perspectives. But thank you so much. Let me come back to Ambassador Dilip Sinha. And Ambassador Sinha, when you look at the situation right now in the Middle East, which is of immense importance and challenges for India too, we have seen the reaction come in from the Ministry of External Affairs, जिसमें of course कही गई है बातें तमाम कि India is deeply concerned at the recent developments in Iran and the Gulf region. We urge all sides to exercise restraint, avoid escalation, and prioritize the safety of civilians. Dialogue and diplomacy should be pursued to de-escalate tensions and address underlying issues. Sovereignty and territorial integrity of all states must be respected. Our missions in the region are in touch with Indian nationals, and we issued appropriate advisories taking them to remain vigilant, stay in contact with the missions, and follow local security guidelines. ये विदेश मंत्रालय की तरफ से जो रिएक्शन आया है अलोंग एक्सपेक्टेड लाइंस, क्या आपको लगता है कि क्योंकि 9 मिलियन हम इंडियंस की बात कर रहे हैं, हमारी एयर स्पेसेस इस वक्त क्लोज्ड है, इवैक्यूएशन की अभी पॉसिबिलिटी नहीं देख पा रहे होंगे हम, लेकिन क्या इवैक्यूएशन की तैयारी किसी तरीके से चल रही होगी इस वक्त मंत्रालयों में?
देखिए, जैसा कि आपकी वो जो अतिथि थी मिसेस मोहन थी, जिन्होंने कहा, बहुत अच्छी बात उन्होंने कही कि वहां पे कंसर्न है लेकिन पैनिक नहीं है। ये एक बहुत अच्छी बात है कि कम से कम भारतीय समुदाय जो वहां पर है उनमें पैनिक इस वक्त नहीं है, क्योंकि सबसे बड़ी समस्या पैनिक की होती है। जहां तक सवाल है 70-80 लाख लोगों को निकालने का, वो असंभव बात है। हवाई जहाज से तो हो नहीं सकता, हवाई जहाज का रास्ता ही बंद है, और पानी के जहाज से निकाल नहीं सकते क्योंकि पानी का जहाज भी खाड़ी होकर आएगा और वहां लड़ाई चल रही है। तो ऐसी परिस्थिति में लोगों को जहां है वहीं रहना होगा, क्योंकि एक दूसरा रास्ता है कि रेगिस्तान पार करते हुए सऊदी अरब आए और सऊदी अरब से फिर ओमान या फिर जद्दा वगैरह के रास्ते से वो किसी तरीके से बाहर निकलें, जो कि इतनी बड़ी जनता के लिए असंभव बात है। तो हमारे लिए यही अच्छा होगा जो हमने अपने वक्तव्य में कहा है कि दोनों पक्ष आपस में बातचीत करें, हम कोशिश करें कि इस समस्या का समाधान शांतिपूर्वक तरीके से निकाला जा सके, और यदि शांतिपूर्वक तरीके से नहीं निकाला जा सकता है तो हमारे हित में ये होगा कि किसी तरीके से ईरान की जो मारक क्षमता है वो कम की जाए। इसी कारण जो अरब देश हैं उन्होंने भी मिलकर ईरान की निंदा की है। ये बहुत बड़ी बात है कि किसी अरब देश ने ईरान का समर्थन नहीं किया है इस पूरे इलाके में, क्योंकि सबको मालूम है कि यदि ईरान उन पर आक्रमण करता है, मिसाइल मारता है, तो उनकी जो आर्थिक उनकी जो समृद्धि है उसको बहुत बड़ा धक्का लगेगा। दुबई जैसा शहर जो कि एक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय शहर बन गया है, व्यापार और वित्त फाइनेंस का सेंटर बन गया है, वो समाप्त हो जाएगा और सारी प्रॉस्पेरिटी जो गल्फ की है वो खत्म हो जाएगी यदि ये लड़ाई बहुत दिन चले और ईरान इन एयरपोर्ट्स को तबाह कर दे, नष्ट कर दे, और इनमें 2-4 बिल्डिंगों पर नष्ट कर दे, तो लोग वहां से भागने लगे हैं। किस तरीके से भागेंगे लोग? और ये अरब देशों की जो समृद्धि है वो समाप्त हो जाएगी। और भारत के भी हित में यही है कि ये समृद्धि जहाँ की है, जहाँ इतने लोग काम कर रहे हैं, वो समृद्धि बनी रहे, ताकि हमारे लोग जो वहां पर काम कर रहे हैं उनका रोजगार बना रहे वहां पे।
आखिरी सवाल आपसे एम्बेसडर सिन्हा, जहां तक एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी का सवाल है, क्योंकि अब डोनाल्ड ट्रंप के दबाव में रूस से हम लोगों को अपना ऑयल सप्लाईज जो है वो कम करना पड़ा। ये डिबेटेबल है कि जीरो किया है या नहीं, या दूसरी ऐसी कम से कम प्राइवेट रूल पब्लिक कंपनियां हैं जो अभी भी सोर्स कर रही हैं। वेनेजुएला, अमेरिका का जहां तक ऑयल का ऑप्शन है, शिपिंग कॉस्ट्स हैं। अब जो मिडिल ईस्ट में ये फायर जो स्पिल ओवर हो रहा है, इसका असर आप कैसे देख रहे हैं इंडिया की एनर्जी बास्केट, और हम कहां से सोर्स कर रहे हैं ऑयल इस वक्त हमारे एनर्जी नीड्स पर?
इसका जवाब तो हंगरी के राष्ट्रपति ओरबान ने कहा है कि उन्होंने कहा है कि अपील की है यूरोपीय देशों से कि रूस से जो तेल खरीद रहा था यूरोप पहले, वो दोबारा शुरू किया जाए, क्योंकि मिडिल ईस्ट में युद्ध हो गया है, वहां का सप्लाई जो है वो कभी भी बंद हो सकता है, बल्कि बंद हो गया होगा इस वक्त। तो भारत की वही स्थिति रहेगी। यदि मिडिल ईस्ट का तेल का सप्लाई बंद हो जाता है तो भारत को अन्य देशों से, विशेषकर रूस, वेनेजुएला, उधर इंडोनेशिया, अन्य देशों से भारत को अपने तेल का सोर्स करना होगा, और तेल के दाम बहुत बढ़ेंगे, उससे भारत की जो आर्थिक बोझ जो है भारत के ऊपर वो बढ़ेगा, तो ये तो परेशानी होगी।
ठीक है, बहुत शुक्रिया आपका हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए, इस लेट नाइट लाइव स्ट्रीम के लिए, एम्बेसडर दिलीप सिन्हा इस चर्चा में जुड़े दिल्ली से। So this was a global broadcast that we got you. We got your voices from Bahrain, from Beirut, also from UAE, and expert voices from Delhi as well. Apologies to our viewers for the technical glitches that we faced. We continue to track this story. It's a developing story. Thoughts and prayers with all the lives lost in the region. A war comes with, of course, mutual casualties, collateral damages, and let's just hope that there are possible ways of de-escalating the situation soon. आप लोगों का हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए शुक्रिया. नमस्कार. आदाब.